The whole ordeal there with the FBI informant wasn't relevant to the investigation. It was one part that we investigated, but the Democrats and the intelligence community are colluding with the media to try to say that that was a key part of the investigation, and therefore the investigation needs to end.
How does it go again? Pain is temporary, the internet is forever.
This is a very crucial piece of our investigation, and the reason that I think it's very credible is this claim was made years before anyone knew about these different shell companies and knew exactly what the Biden family did in countries like Romania and China to get money. I agree, we deserve transparency. Hopefully in our investigations, the administration will turn over the pseudonym emails and the her tapes and all the other items of relevance to our other investigation that we have ongoing. With respect to...
is that one still ongoing? I wasn't sure.
Yes, it's...
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
okay.
I know. You need to stop watching CNN. You need to go to Main Street and ask people.
Just when you thought Republican Chair James Comer had enough humiliation for one quarter, he had to go on Fox News and say this.
But the Democrats and the intelligence community are colluding with the media to try to say that that was a key part of the investigation.
Which many on the internet, including yours truly, took the mere 3 seconds needed to type in simply James Comer's name, and up pops a video of him speaking in the high octave that he speaks in, saying the exact opposite.
What I have to say about the ongoing investigation, did they say anything about the nature of it?
All I know is there's an ongoing investigation. They confirmed there's an ongoing investigation using disinformation. I assume that ongoing investigation is in Delaware. I don't know that, but I assume that.
Is it part of an ongoing investigation? It was part of an ongoing investigation, but that's what he learned. Okay.
But then I must have missed that because I've not heard that this is part of any ongoing investigation.
What is the allegation?
The main reason they're not wanting to make this public is because they're concerned about the source, the highly credible, and I haven't read that in a lot of outlets, the highly credible source that's been with the Bureau since the Obama administration.
Yeah, there's a confidential human source that the FBI works with who has proven to be very credible, who reported a conversation with someone else. That confidential human source said that he had no way of knowing about the underlying veracity of the things that he was being told. And so it's not the source's information, it's the information that he reported from a conversation with someone else that he was not able to verify or authenticate, which is often the case. And that's why we're talking about secondhand hearsay here. And so it's not the source, the confidential human source, who is the origin of the particular claim. That confidential human source is the person who reported that someone else was saying this, and that's why this task force was created, which examined it and then determined there was no reason to move up the chain of investigative procedures.
Contradiction Comer strikes once again. Now, the reason for said lies and disinformation comes after AOC accused James Comer of pushing Russian-sourced allegations against President Joe Biden. She said this while on air with Stephen Colbert, and after being played the clip, the man, who at this point must be a masochist, I just have to assume that, decided that it wasn't enough humiliation, so he opted to triple down? It has to be triple at this point, right?
You have the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Representative Comer, take quote unquote evidence and account from someone who was working with the Russian intelligence and tried to impeach and remove the President of the United States over it. This is serious.
How did they not know that, or did they know that this was connected to the Russians? Or did they not figure that out because they hadn't translated from the Cyrillic?
That, I think, is a very excellent question for Chairman Comer.
What do you make of the chaos that Marjorie Taylor Greene is causing Republicans in the House right now?
Well, she's a great member of the House Oversight Committee. She's frustrated. I think there are a lot of us that are frustrated. I would encourage us to try to somehow get together. You know, we have to work together as a conference. I think Marjorie knows that. I don't think she's going to pull the trigger unless there's a consensus person to replace Mike Johnson. So right now, I think she's more sending a message to the Speaker that she wishes he would be a little more conservative.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Honestly, come on, mate. We've already been through this, all right? Do you remember this picture? It became an internet meme. Do you want Jared Moskowitz back on the floor making your life miserable again?
Chair now recognizes Mr. Moskowitz for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. By the way, how are you doing? Good? Okay.
Congressmember Moskowitz, welcome to the MeidasTouch Network. So walk us through what went down in this hearing today, yet another MAGA Republican hearing into Hunter Biden. It's been 15 months now. You would not let them off the hook. So just take us through what went down.
Yeah, it's like Groundhog Day. We're at the scene where Bill Murray and the groundhog are in the car driving off the cliff, just trying to get out of it. I mean, this was, what was it, 6 hours? It's the same stuff. They got nothing new. Yeah, they had, Tony Bobolinsky and some guy in prison today looking for a pardon. I mean, seriously, it's like, what does a Chinese foreign agent, Russian disinformation, and a felon in jail have in common? James Comer. James Comer is what they have all in common. I mean, this is how low they've sunk. And so all I wanted to do is first check in with James. How's he doing? Right? Mental health check. But I mean, I go last. They bury me at the end of the hearing. And so I just spent my 5 minutes, asking Tony, does he think the president should be impeached? And he said, yeah, Joe Biden should be impeached. So I was like, well, Tony, Chairman Comer and Chairman Jordan are right here. Ask them when they're going to schedule the impeachment. Like, when are we going to have it? And they're like, well, we don't do snap impeachments. It's been 15 months. If they have found that Joe Biden committed a high crime and misdemeanor, then they would have called for the impeachment. So they haven't found any evidence that Joe Biden did anything wrong, which is why they haven't called for it. And oh, by the way, they also don't have the votes because they got another Republicans who don't want to vote for that. They got Ken Buck literally retiring, saying the Speaker can't keep him here to vote on an unconstitutional impeachment. And so today's just another bad day for them. It's the same stuff. I think the American people has kind of tuned this out.
I mean, I'm sure Jamie Raskin has another very well thought out dismantling of your entire operation and the lack of evidence at hand. Is that what you want?
Exactly. Dan Goldman and Jamie Raskin are in a race to see who the biggest hypocrite in Congress can be. Look, they know exactly what they've done with the Department of Justice.
Chair now recognizes the ranking member for 12 minutes for his opening statement.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very kindly. With any luck, today marks the end of perhaps the most spectacular failure in the history of congressional investigations. Today, the good chairman and his ace MAGA detectives have finally jumped the shark. The comedy of errors comes crashing to an end as House Republicans in more than a dozen Biden districts beg for mercy, and the committee throws a flabby Hail Mary pass 3 weeks after the Super Bowl's over. So today, we revisit the fruitless testimony of two more fading star witnesses who have failed to testify to any presidential wrongdoing. Oh, that's gonna hurt! After turning over every stone and going down every rabbit hole, including interviewing Viktor Shokin and Zlochevsky, the owner of Burisma, did you ever find the smoking gun or any evidence that Donald Trump was looking for to paste on Joe Biden?
On the contrary, Representative Raskin, not only did we keep hitting dead walls and not finding the smoking gun, but we kept running into sources of the information that was coming out of Russia.
Just take the L. Move on.
Since you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, this investigation, this is not an impeachment process. This is an impeachment inquiry where you're trying to gather more facts. And what we get, certainly from the media and obviously from their friends in the Democratic Party, is they look at the process that you're overseeing and they say, this is embarrassing. This is a failure. There's nothing here. It's a witch hunt. It's a fishing expedition. They've got nothing. And this is just an ongoing humiliation. That's the narrative that they've decided to land on. I know that your perspective is different. I guess the question is, have you guys made any meaningful progress since launching the inquiry that you think Americans need to see? Okay, they can yell and scream about how there's nothing here. Is there something to see here that's new?
Absolutely. You know, at the beginning of the investigation, the narrative was the laptop was Russian disinformation. None of the money that the Bidens got ever happened while Joe Biden was vice president. The narrative was that Hunter Biden was just like Jared Kushner. He was a regular business guy. What we've found in our investigation is that obviously the laptop was 100% legitimate. All the damaging emails, all the pictures that implicate Joe Biden, all the information that would implicate Joe Biden as being the big guys, being a part of the Biden influence peddling scheme, all of that is 100% legitimate.
There will be plenty more nothing controversies for you and your fellow Republicans to waste endless amounts of time, resources, and taxpayer dollars on instead of focusing on things like, I don't know, gun regulation, abortion right. I'm sure that if you wait, the next gas stove fiasco is just around the corner.
Here's the score. Gun violence hearings in the 118th Congress, 0. Gas stoves, 3. That's all you need to know about what's happening in the 118th Congress. I yield back.
Chair now recognizes our good friend from Kentucky, Chairman Comer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate your leadership on this issue. And I have to respond to the gun violence. What good does it do to have gun laws on the books when you waive gun penalties for privileged white children of high elected public officials?
We yield?
I'll yield.
Mr. Chairman, there were 17 people killed at my high school. In my neighborhood. And so let's not make gun violence.
I'm not making I yield my time back. You asked a credible question. You're not serious. So, Dr. Richmond, thank you.
For the love of all that is good and democratic, just give this one a rest. The internet never forgets.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.